the empty space where a gift should have been felt like a vacuum, pulling the air from my lungs. Everyone else tore through glittering paper and ribbon. Mom, Dad, Grant, his pregnant wife, even distant cousins I barely recognized. Laughter and exclamations filled the room as each person discovered what lay beneath the wrapping. But in front of me, nothing. Not even an empty box for appearances. "Oh no," my mother said, her voice performatively loud. "Victoria, we completely forgot." "Just like the good old days. Don't cry this time, sis." My brother Grant's eyes gleamed with familiar malice. No gasps of horror, no scrambling to find a forgotten package, just awkward chuckles and quickly averted gazes before they all turned back to their bounty. The message couldn't have been clearer if they'd painted it on the wall. You don't matter. You never did. My name is Victoria. I'm 32 and a cybersecurity specialist. This is the story of how I learned that walking away can be the most powerful revenge. I grew up as background music in a house that only celebrated the lead singer. My brother Grant commanded attention like breathing. Star quarterback, prom king, Stanford acceptance at 17. Our parents built a shrine to his existence, complete with trophies that lined every shelf and photos that claimed every wall. I was the negative space, defined only by what I wasn't. Not athletic, not outgoing, not Grant. My earliest memory of invisibility came at 10 years old. Grant received a gleaming mountain bike for his birthday, metallic blue with 18 speeds and shock absorbers. I got socks, pink ones with little hearts that didn't even fit. When I asked why, Mom said, "Girls don't ride bikes anyway." But I did. I rode the neighbor's rusty hand-me-down until the tires burst, pedaling furiously as if speed might somehow make me visible. By 13, I'd stopped hoping for recognition. I sat silently on the stairs during Grant's academic celebration dinners, my own straight-A report card stuffed in my backpack, unmentioned and unseen. My words evaporated in our house, so I stopped offering them. By 16, I'd redirected my energy toward computers, code, and systems that made sense. Unlike family, code gave back exactly what you put in. The invisibility continued through high school. While my parents funded Grant's class trips and football camps, I worked weekends at a local cafe to save for college. The tech club became my sanctuary, not because it was cool, but because people actually heard me when I spoke. Then came the Thanksgiving dinner that shattered any remaining illusions. "To Grant," my father toasted, raising his glass, "for his entrepreneurial spirit. He's launching his media startup, and we couldn't be prouder." Glasses clinked. Grant basked in the adoration. "We just hope Victoria finds something stable. Maybe clerical work?" My mother turned to me, her smile tight. "I hear the deli down the street is hiring cashiers." An uncle chuckled. Laughter rippled around the table. I didn't join in. That week, I'd received a full scholarship to one of the top tech programs in New York. Tuition, housing, stipend, everything covered. I hadn't told them. Not because I was hiding it, but because experience had taught me it wouldn't matter. I left home a month later with a single suitcase and a silent promise. I would never return to beg for their approval. New York didn't welcome me with open arms. My dorm room had peeling paint and a window that rattled with every subway rumble. The first night, I cried into a borrowed pillow, while someone blasted music next door and someone else vomited in the hallway. This wasn't the dream. It was the grind, but the grind suited me. I took classes during the day and cleaned hotel rooms at night. Weekends meant tutoring underclassmen in Python or fixing laptops for extra cash. I didn't party or date. I worked, because working meant outrunning the version of me they had written off. By junior year, I was interning at a cybersecurity firm downtown. I was the only woman on the floor, the only person under 30, and the only one who never asked for help. They respected that. By summer's end, they offered me a part-time position while I finished school. I moved out of the dorms into a Brooklyn apartment with 2 other women who were also building something from nothing. The heat worked sporadically. We took turns plunging the bathroom sink and sometimes chose between electricity and dinner. But it was ours. Graduation came with honors and job offers. My roommates held up a sign made from a pizza box. "Go Vic! Build the damn thing!" Nobody else came. I didn't expect them to. I joined the same firm full-time and ascended quickly. Not because I was trying to climb some corporate ladder, but because I was building my own. My code became essential to the company's infrastructure. When a major bank was hacked in 2023, I designed the patch. When a government contractor needed a custom security suite, I built it from scratch. By 28, I was making six figures. By 30, I was leading projects. By 31, I closed a multi-year licensing deal with a European financial firm that paid me a bonus large enough to make my bank account briefly freeze before confirming the deposit. I didn't call home. Not because I was petty, but because I'd learned their silence was never about distance. It was about disinterest. Instead, I took a piece of that bonus and bought a condo in Boston. 2 bedrooms, minimalist design, stainless steel appliances, and floor-to-ceiling windows that made the city skyline feel like part of the furniture. I moved in mid-December, a week before Christmas. My friends came over with Thai takeout and cheap wine. We sat on the floor because I hadn't bought furniture yet. Someone gave me a candle shaped like a dragon. Another gifted a mug that read, "Just because you're quiet doesn't mean you're weak." We toasted to new beginnings. That's when my phone buzzed with a text from my cousin Rachel. "Hey, your mom wants to know if you'll come home for Christmas." Not "we miss you." Not "come visit." Just "come home," as if I'd merely stepped out for milk. I showed the message to my friend Olivia. "You going?" she asked. I didn't answer right away. Later that night, standing by the window with Boston's lights stretching before me, I whispered the truth. I think I have to. Not because they deserved it, but because I needed to see what I'd left behind and what I'd become. I drove to Connecticut the morning of Christmas Eve. The 6-hour journey felt shorter than expected, perhaps because I kept rehearsing what I'd say, knowing I wouldn't say any of it. The house looked smaller than I remembered. Sagging gutters, peeling paint, weeds spiraling through cracked concrete. A plastic Santa clung to the roof, the same one from my childhood, now missing a boot. I stood on the porch, overnight bag in one hand, store-bought cookies in the other. My finger hovered over the doorbell longer than I'd admit. When I finally pressed it, the chime sounded tired. The door opened to my mother's face, surprised, then studied, then stiffly polite. "Well," she said, "you look different." "I am," I replied. She pulled me into a one-armed hug that lasted exactly 1 second longer than necessary. Inside, the house smelled the same. Lemon polish, old upholstery, and disappointment. The living room bustled with extended family I barely recognized. Conversation halted as I entered, like someone had muted the television. "Hey, look who's here!" Grant's voice boomed from the kitchen. He emerged beaming, one arm around his wife's shoulders, the other gesturing to her swollen belly. "Everyone, this is Mia. Your future niece or nephew's in there." He patted her stomach. Polite applause followed. "Congratulations," I offered a smile. "Still working with computers or whatever?" he asked, voice light but laced with condescension. "I work in cybersecurity," I replied. "Enterprise-level AI defense." He whistled low. "Wow, still doing the techie basement thing, huh?" I didn't respond. Didn't need to. "Let's eat before it gets cold," my mother announced with a clap. "Victoria, your old room is now Grant's office, so we've made up the couch for you." Of course they had. Dinner placed me at the far end of the table next to the kitchen door, practically in the hallway. Grant held court, explaining some vague startup idea involving revolutionary media architecture, all buzzwords and ego. "I just need the capital to launch," he said. 200,000 should get us rolling." "We'll figure something out," my father nodded. "Family helps family," my mother patted his hand. I chewed overcooked turkey and said nothing. After dinner, my mother handed me a scratchy blanket and gestured to the couch. I lay there under the flicker of hallway light, listening to their laughter upstairs. I didn't cry. I didn't even blink. Christmas morning came like a scene from a commercial. Mia and Grant bounded downstairs, tearing into presents with childlike glee. Boxes stacked high, ribbons flew, everyone cooed over the gifts I'd brought. Carefully selected, personalized, wrapped with handwritten notes. Then it came to my turn, except it didn't. "Oh no," my mother said far too loudly. "Victoria, we completely forgot." "Just like the good old days. Don't cry this time, sis," Grant laughed, and that was it. Something inside me stilled. Not rage, not hurt, just clarity. I reached into my purse and pulled out a single item, my keys. The brushed steel caught the morning light. "What's that?" my father asked. "The keys to my apartment," I said. "I closed on it last week. 2-bedroom condo in Boston. Hardwood floors, built-in smart security system, fully paid off." The room went silent. "You bought an apartment?" My mother blinked. "With what money?" "My job," I said. "My company licensed a security framework I built. The bonus was $160,000. After taxes." Forks paused mid-air. Grant's jaw twitched. Mia stopped smiling. "You've been making that kind of money for years?" My father leaned forward. "Sweetheart, why didn't you tell us? We're so proud of you." My mother's tone shifted instantly. Proud. For a moment I almost laughed, but I didn't. "I should pack," I said instead. "I've got a long drive back." They protested. My mother begged me to stay for brunch. My father said we hadn't even talked about my exciting career. But I had seen enough, and they had shown me everything I needed to know. I came downstairs with my bag still unzipped and my resolve zipped tight. They were waiting for me, my parents standing just beyond the threshold of the living room, arms folded, smiles too polished to be genuine. Grant and Mia flanked them, trying and failing to look casual. "Before you go," my father began, "we wanted to talk to you about something important." I raised an eyebrow but didn't speak. I didn't need to. Grant stepped forward like a man doing me a favor. "This startup I've been building, it's really close to taking off. Just needs a little push, capital mostly." "How much?" I asked. He smiled, cocky as ever. 200,000. That would get us rolling." "It's an investment, honey. You'd be helping family." My mother nodded eagerly. "Yeah," Grant added. "With what you're making, it's nothing. You said you got that big bonus, right?" And there it was, the reason they suddenly remembered I existed. I looked around that room, the same room where I used to sit on the floor while Grant opened his brand new gadgets and I got thrift store cast-offs. The same room where, not 24 hours ago, they forgot to get me a Christmas gift. "No," I said plainly. It landed like a slap. My mother's face froze. "What do you mean, no?" "I mean, I'm not giving you $200,000, or $2. "But we're family," my father said, like the word still meant something. I laughed just once, not bitterly, just truthfully. "You mean now we're family?" Silence. "Where was that family?" I continued. "When I asked for help covering textbooks and you told me to take out loans? When you turned my bedroom into an office before I even left for college? When you told me I could sleep on the couch while Grant got a car and a tuition check?" "That was different," my mother snapped. "Things were tight back then." I nodded slowly. "But not tight for Grant." "He showed promise," she said too quickly, then backpedaled. "I mean, we thought college might not be the right fit for you." "No," I said. "You just assumed I wasn't worth the risk." Grant stepped forward, puffed up like he was still wearing a high school letter jacket. "Unbelievable. You make it big and suddenly think you're better than us." "I don't think I'm better," I said. "I think I'm finally done pretending we were ever equal." "You selfish brat," he spat. "After all we've done for you?" "For me?" I snapped. "You mean tolerating me while worshiping Grant? You mean throwing jokes at my expense at every dinner table? You mean forgetting me every holiday and pretending it was some innocent slip-up? We gave you a roof, food." My mother's voice turned shrill. "Parenting," I said coldly, "not charity. And you made sure I knew I was never wanted." My hand tightened around my suitcase handle. I turned toward the door. "Don't walk out like this," my father said. "We're just trying to build something." "You already did," I replied. "You built a hierarchy, and I just stopped trying to climb it." I stepped outside into the crisp air. Behind me, they shouted about regrets, about forgiveness, about family. None of it mattered. By the time I hit the highway, my phone buzzed every few minutes. Missed calls, voicemails, texts from numbers I didn't recognize but knew too well. Words like ungrateful, selfish, cold, flung like confetti at a party I'd never RSVP'd to. At a gas station just past the state line, I scrolled through them all, then blocked every number I didn't care to hear from again, except Rachel. When I got back to my apartment in Boston, it was quiet, peaceful. I poured a glass of wine and stood by the window, watching the skyline blink like the city was breathing with me. Rachel texted, "Mom's telling everyone you refuse to help, that you've changed." "Good," I replied. "Maybe now they'll stop pretending I ever owed them anything." A day later, the cousins came. "Family is everything," one message read. "You should support your brother." Delete block. Another said, "Wow, you're cold." Maybe, but cold is what you become when you're tired of being burned. It's been 7 months since that Christmas. 7 months since I walked out of the house where I was raised and never looked back. Since then, life hasn't just moved forward, it's unfolded. I was promoted in March, head of engineering. The title didn't matter as much as what came with it. A team that respects me, creative freedom, and a compensation package that would have made my teenage self think I was dreaming. That same month, I met Nathan at a tech conference in Cambridge. He was quiet like me, but steady. A freelance designer who understood the chaos of startups and, more importantly, the silence that follows a toxic family. We got coffee, then dinner, then we didn't stop. Nathan doesn't ask for pieces of me I'm not willing to give. He doesn't try to fix me. He sees me, and that's enough. Rachel still calls every week, not because she has to, but because she wants to. She keeps me updated, though I rarely ask. Apparently, Grant and Mia are still living with my parents. The startup never got off the ground. The story my family tells now is simple. I abandoned them. I turned my back. I let money ruin me. It's easier, I guess, than admitting the truth. I was never theirs to lose. They tried reaching out through every channel. Old friends, distant cousins, even former teachers. I blocked each attempt, each guilt trip disguised as concern. My mother left a voicemail a month ago. Her voice trembled as she said, "Family is forever, Victoria." I didn't respond because I've learned forever only applies when it's mutual, not when it's conditional, not when it only kicks in once you've become useful. Nathan and I are planning a trip to Japan. We've been learning the language together, bookmarking noodle spots and old shrines. Sometimes when we talk about the future, he asks what I'd name a dog if we got one, or if I'd ever consider leaving Boston for good. The thought doesn't scare me. Not anymore. This city gave me space to grow, but now I know that what mattered wasn't the city. It was me. I've stopped mourning the family I never really had, and I've started building something better, something chosen, something whole. To anyone listening who's felt the sting of being overlooked, forgotten, dismissed, please hear me when I say this. You do not have to stay where you're unseen. You are not selfish for choosing peace, and you don't need anyone's permission to live the life you deserve. So walk away if you need to. Run if you must. Build a life that reflects your worth, not their expectations. Because the truth is, sometimes the most powerful thing you can say isn't, "I forgive you." It's, "I'm done." And when you say it like you mean it. Because peace isn't found in their acceptance. It's found in your own. Before you go, here's a quick bonus for sticking around. If you love learning and growing like I do, you need to try audiobooks. I've got an exclusive deal with Audible. Your first month is completely free. That's access to over 500,000 titles. Zero cost to you. All the details are waiting in the description. Don't miss this one.